Hallelujah, it's finally here. The return of Halloween Run. And with the return of Halloween Run, I don't think I used this thing at all last year on YouTube. But bringing back the Freddy Krueger hand can holder. Oh, this is Mr. Hornsby 3. This is the Mr. Hornsby 3 show. And before I get started, I'm talking about underrated horror movies and franchises and whatnot. I want to talk about something I missed when I was when I did my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1987 and 96, where I feel like after the Turtles fought Lord Dreg, they should have had one final battle with Shredder. Not only with Shredder as regular Shredder, but they should have had one more battle with Super Shredder. And by that point, the Ninja Turtles 3 movie, the Ninja Turtles 2 and 3 movie had been out, and video games had put Super Shredder in them. And the 2003 show, we did get a Super Shredder fight with the Utrom Shredder, and the final battle the Turtles had with the Utrom Shredder. And in 2012, we got Super Shredder fight in the 2012 show. I feel like Shredder should have been the final fight as Super Shredder. But anyway, enough about 1987 Ninja Turtles. We're here about horror movies, underrated horror franchises, or, just flat out franchises that get bashed and shouldn't get bashed because they're pretty good. But anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna start out with the horror movie. And I guess you could say a lot of people make fun of. It's actually a horror franchise, and a lot of people make fun of it. But that is the Leprechaun movies. And I don't get it, because Leprechaun is pretty much Chucky, except for he's a leprechaun and Chucky's a freaking killer doll. They have one-liners, they freaking do campy, silly stuff. I mean, especially if you've seen later renditions of freaking. You've seen later renditions of Chucky, you know what I'm talking about. But the Leprechaun franchise, I feel like it's so disrespected by so many people. It's unfreaking real. But the Leprechaun does have powers, where Chucky doesn't have nothing but a freaking knife and some voodoo words. And people think, oh, well, Leprechaun, blah, 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 it's stupid. I like the Leprechaun movies. They're all pretty good. Of course, my favorite's still Leprechaun in the Hood. I mean, I just like that movie. Never gonna not like that movie. Next up is one I don't hear a lot of people talk about. There's only a one movie franchise, but you know what? I gotta give it to People Under the Stairs. That movie is really underrated. A lot of people talk about all these other movies that were like one and done movies or whatever. I think People Under the Stairs should have really got a sequel, maybe a franchise out of it. I mean, especially with the way that movie ended. You'd think they would make another People's Under the Stairs movie, but they never have. Which doesn't make no sense to me why they haven't. But you know what? It's what it is. But I gotta say, yeah, People Under the Stairs is an underrated movie. Now we're going back to franchises. I think the Pumpkinhead franchise is a bit underrated. Now look, the first two I think the first two are good. The rest ain't too good. But, there are some. But, one of the later ones does have Doug Bradley in it. Doug Bradley, Pinhead, so. Even though they're underrated, people should know what Pumpkinhead is. And I know, yeah, a couple of the movies were bad. But I think Pumpkinhead I mean, he's one of the scariest monsters out there. I mean, seriously. Pumpkinhead is one of the freaking scariest monsters I've ever seen. I would freaking wet myself if I had Pumpkinhead coming at me, because this character is not hindered by anything. He can climb trees. He can freaking climb roofs. He's more, durable. He's more freaking reliable. What's the word? More resourceful than a lot of other villains who are one-note villains that only do it, like Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger can only get you in the dream world, unless they bring him into the real world by him possessing somebody. Jason Voorhees. You don't really see him climb too much, do you? Michael Myers. Yeah, he can walk upstairs and that, but you don't see him climbing any higher than that. Yeah, you don't see him in trees and all that stuff. But yeah, and those are icons. But anyway, yeah, so I think people only got enough. I don't think a lot of people give enough love to the Pumpkinhead movies. I mean, I've seen a lot of people bash them, especially Part 2. But I think Part 2 is pretty good. I don't hate Part 2. I actually like Part 2. But the ones after Part 2, it's kind of like, lame. But, yeah, the rest after Part 2 ain't that good. But it's kind of like how you got Candyman. The first one's good, and the two after that sucked. But then we got another one a few years ago that was pretty good. Yeah. And another underrated movie, and it gets a lot of disrespect. And they say other sequels in this franchise is better than that. Is Predator 2. Last year I did a video about Predator 2 and how much everybody disrespects that frickin' movie. And a lot of people were agreeing with me on that. A lot of people. That was like one of my most popular videos since I've been back on YouTube. But, yeah, man, I mean, Predator 2 gets no respect at all. I mean, come on now. It's a good movie, and a lot of reasons why people don't like it is because it didn't have Arnold in it. But, Arnold Schwarzenegger did sequels to other movies like The Terminator, and look how many were good after he did come back to those. Only one was good that Arnold came back to, and that was the second one. The rest of them sucked. Big time. But, I don't know. Here's one that people might disagree with me on. And, this is a movie I just recently watched not too long ago. I actually think it's kind of a, it's not a perfect movie. It's not a great movie. But I actually think it's probably a little bit of a misunderstood movie, and that is Strangeland. Now, yeah, one of my issues with that movie is, the guy's the killer, and that then he goes to jail, and then like for 5 minutes he's trying to reform, and then like 5 minutes later he's right back to killing people. I mean, that's my biggest issue with the movie. I mean, seriously. I want people to be sympathetic for this guy, make him show a lot more regret, and make the movie a little bit longer so he can, have time to, actually reform, and not just throw it in 5 minutes because Freddy Krueger thinks that, he took his daughter. Yeah, that's right, Robert Englund's in that movie. And honestly, I think Dee Snider is alright as Captain Howdy, but I mean, come on now. I think, that movie, I think a lot of people would go back and watch it and probably be like, it's a little better. Another underrated movie, a horror movie. Now I'll get back into some more franchise stuff. Another underrated horror movie. Sometimes I'll call certain horror movies action movies. I guess it's a horror action because Lou Diamond Phillips is in it. But The First Power. That's a horror movie, and it's a pretty freaking interesting horror movie. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that movie. It's like a really good movie. I remember, like, there's a part where he's in the church and he's freaking doing the making fun of the God stuff and all that. And I think, as a horror movie, it's very underrated. I think people should check out First Power. If you've never seen First Power, check it out. I'm not going to give away too much, but but First Power, underrated horror movie. If it's classified as horror, but I think it is classified as horror. If frickin' Spawn could be classified as horror, then I'm sure First Power is. But yeah, anyway. What else? An underrated franchise, even though I know a lot of people know about it. This ain't about, if they know about it or not. It's, more like if they actually care about it to talk about it. Like, show the appreciation it deserves. I think the Hellraiser franchise has kind of been in that scenario where they're kind of underrated horror movies. I mean, some people are like, oh, well, only people that's into that freaking type of life would freaking like Hellraiser movies. I'm not interested in that type of life, but Hellraiser movies are pretty good. I think the first three are, I like the first three the best. Then after that, I kind of, in space, then you get, Inferno, then you get, the one where Kirsty returns, and you get, quite a few other ones. I mean, the last couple I just see. Although I will say Pinhead did get pretty cocky in the last Hellraiser movie that they made. And that he had to pay the price because the freaking God and all that kind of freaking took his power away. Made him human again. Also can't wait for that Hellraiser game to come out. But, yeah, I think very underrated. Another underrated franchise, I think. And look, man, I understand it. People don't think this is very creepy or spooky. But it's not the fact of if it's creepy or spooky. It's the fact that this could actually happen in real life if But Children of the Corn franchise. Yeah, Children of the Corn, a lot of people bash the movie. But I honestly think it's a good franchise. I mean, especially the first couple. Pretty good. The ones after that, they're alright. But, But, yeah, the first couple I really like. And I think 2 maybe a little bit better than the first one. And I like the first one a lot. But, I think it's underrated. Also, another underrated franchise. I know a lot of people... I know this is a confusing franchise as well, with the timeline and all that stuff. All the crazy stuff going on. But, Phantasm. I don't think Phantasm gets enough love, just like with Children of the Corn and some of the other stuff we'll talk about. But, man, Phantasm movies are pretty good. The first 2, I think, are good. 3, yeah, 4, yeah, 5, oh god, no. 5, I think, was hot garbage. I mean, seriously, 5 was hot garbage. 4, I thought was alright. 3 was, yeah, it was okay. It was alright. But, yeah. But, yeah, I think 4 is okay. Yeah, I mean, 5, though, oh boy, 5, 5 is lame. Another franchise I think that don't get enough love. This is a modern franchise. That is Saw. The first 3 are good. 4 I think is pretty good. 5 is pretty good. 6 is okay. 7, it's okay. 8, it's okay. 9, I forgot what 9 was. Oh yeah, frickin' Spiral. That one sucked. I like Chris Rock, but golly, that frickin' Spiral sucked. Spiral sucked. 10 was a pretty good one, but I don't think Saw gets enough love either. I mean, I hear so many people talk about all the big names like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday 13, Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Child's Play / Chucky, and that. But now, or like more current stuff like The Conjuring and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think it gets enough love. Saw franchise, I don't think gets enough love. They'll play everything else, even on TV stations. Yeah, they'll play a couple Saws here and there. But on TV, you're always seeing Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all that, and we don't ever see much of Saw. Halloween. I think another underrated movie. I haven't seen the second one. I don't know. I think the second one's coming out this year. Is The Nun. That's an underrated horror movie. That nun is freaking creepy as hell. Very creepy. And very spooky. Yeah, The Nun I think is pretty good. Another franchise that I think don't get enough love, because it's the greatest horror, it's the greatest Christmas horror franchise ever. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Honestly, they've made a lot of different Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. But, I think the first 2 are pretty good. I think those are the best 2. 5, it's okay. 3, okay. 4, yeah. Yeah, they could have ended after 1 and 2. I mean, that would have been fine. If they ended it at 1 and 2, that would have been better, because the rest after that ain't really that good, and that's probably why it don't get a lot of love. Kind of like with Pumpkinhead. After the first couple, the rest are not really that good. Kind of like Phantasm. After the first couple, the rest are either decent or okay. Or, the rest are either or okay. Let me rephrase that. I also think the Prom Night franchise doesn't get enough love. Honestly, one of the things I hate about freaking when they do remakes, especially in the 2000s, when they remade Prom Night, I didn't even go see it. That movie sucked. It sucked wiener. Because, I don't know, it was just annoying. I think another underrated horror movie. I know a lot of people make fun of this movie and they crap on this movie, they disrespect this movie. Is what the fuck is it called? I forgot the name of it. The one with Kevin Bacon. Shoot, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Shoot. What's it called? Not Stir of Echoes. I don't know. I forgot. I forgot the name of the movie, but it's that one where Kevin Bacon just shows how much of a pervert he is. Daggone, and I like this movie too. I don't know. Another underrated movie I don't hear a lot of people give a lot of love to is Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't care what anybody says. That's like the best Dracula movie ever. I've watched the older Dracula movies. I've seen Dracula 2000. Bram Stoker's Dracula is the best Dracula movie ever. And you know what? I mean, that movie was nearly perfect. I don't care what people say about Keanu Reeves and his freaking accent. I thought Keanu Reeves was even good in that movie, so yeah. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Really good movie. Another underrated movie, I think, is Child's Play 2. It's part of the franchise, but yeah, you know what? Child's Play 2 is underrated. And I don't hate 3. The one I hate is frickin' Seed of Chucky. Seed of Chucky is up there with frickin' Halloween Resurrection with me. All the Chucky movies, the Child's Play movies, outside of Seed, I like. But I could care less for frickin' Seed of Chucky. Worst frickin' Chucky movie ever. You know, it's the Halloween Resurrection of the Chucky franchise. It seriously is. I mean, how in the world? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Child's Play 2. Underrated movie. Let's see what else. There's one. I bet a lot of people don't even realize it's a horror movie. Cape Fear, starring Robert De Niro and Nick Nolte. That movie is freaking terrifying. Robert De Niro is freaking terrifying in that movie. And I'll tell you what, that movie is freaking terrifying. And you know what? I don't know. Cape Fear, I don't know. That's just a really good movie. Another underrated horror movie that a lot of people don't talk about. I know some people give it love. But, like, some people on YouTube give it love. Like some of these other movies I talked about that were underrated. But, you know. Nightbreed. Why was there never a sequel to that movie? I mean, seriously. Nightbreed is a really good movie. And I honestly think they should have made a sequel to that freaking movie. Because that's how good that movie is. But they never made a sequel to it. I'm sure half the actors are no longer around. But, you know. Is what it is. Another underrated franchise. I mean, and I'm going to discount the goofy, campier stuff that happened in the later movies. But I'm going to go with The Howling. And I just watched the first Howling last night. That movie is freaking creepy. Now, that movie is creepy as hell. I mean, especially the opening, the ending, everything to it, and the cliffhanger ending, and the sad ending where, you know, the main character freaking gets shot on live TV and dies because she turned into a werewolf. So it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of one of those emotional horror movies at the end. Yeah, the rest of the Howling movies might have got campy and goofy and that toward the end, but heck, that's happened with a lot of horror movies over the years. I mean, look at Scream, and I like Scream 2, but, you know, Scream 2 with Billy's mother. Billy's mother. And here's one I don't think anybody's heard about. And this, I'm not talking about the one that came out a few years ago. I'm talking about the original Boogeyman movies. There was Boogeyman movies way before. There was one, like, I think one came out recently, but yeah, they had these Boogeyman movies, and I think it's about this one kid that was super evil or something like that. Also, the Amityville horror movies are kind of creepy. The original ones, not the Ryan Reynolds one. The first two are creepy as I ain't watched no more after that. Like these things, yeah. Let's see. Guess you could say the Stepfather movies, a bit underrated. Also, like the Puppet Master movies are pretty underrated too. I mean, yeah, like a lot of other horror franchises, they got kind of campy and goofy toward the end, but I don't see a lot of people give too much love to Puppet Master movies. See what else? I would say, you know what, I'm going to say Addams Family too. Because that one's creepy because, you know, Wednesday and Pugsley and the dude she was in love with had to sit through a bunch of happy, cheery freaking Disney movies. And then Wednesday was forced to smile. That was like the creepiest thing ever. That was like the most creepiest thing about Addams Family 2. Not freaking Fester's wife. Not freaking, you know, anything else, but Wednesday having to smile and then them having to sit through the torture of the happy-go-lucky you know, happy-go-lucky Disney movies that came out around that time. Oh my God. That's the worst torture you could do to anybody. Seriously. You have to sit through Cinderella. Oh, boy. Another franchise, I think, because a lot of people only talk about the first one and the shock ending, but I think Sleepaway Camp's a bit underrated, too. Yeah. But, yeah. Sleepaway Camp. Angela is pretty much, you know, a female version of Freddy Krueger. Well, she's a boy. I don't know. It's, she's a boy played by women and girls in the freaking movies. I don't know. I'll talk about a couple more than I'll end this video. Let's see. Hollow Man. Yeah, Hollow Man. Kevin Bacon, Hollow Man. I think that movie's underrated. Yeah, Hollow Man. Very underrated movie. I know a lot of people hate it. I don't hate it. I like it. One of the few Kevin Bacon movies I actually like. Maybe the only Kevin Bacon movie I like. Well, he's in Friday the 13th, and I like the first Friday the 13th, so. He gets killed, but yeah. No. See. I think there was a couple more I was going to mention, but I don't know. I forgot. I don't know. Anyway, I guess that'll do it. I mean, I could say something like The Faculty or something like that, but, you know. Yeah, you know, out of that teen, you know, Scream praised movies, I think Faculty is probably the only one I liked outside of the Scream movies. Because I don't care for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Fuck those movies. Those movies are freaking lame. I do like how Scary Movie made fun of the first one where she's like, "What are you waiting for?" The guys get ready to jump off the roof. She's like, "What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?" He's like, "Yeah, what am I waiting for?" He just jumps off the frickin'... He jumps off the frickin' thing. But, yeah. Yeah, he just jumps off the frickin' roof and dies. I think Frighteners, yeah, that's a bit underrated too. Frighteners. Eddie Murphy's acting in Eddie Murphy's acting in freaking Haunted Mansion. That's like the scariest part of that whole movie is Eddie Murphy's acting in that. No. I always say Haunted Mansion is where Eddie Murphy's career died. Yeah. Eddie Murphy's career died with that. I mean, you could make a case for frickin' what's for being underrated? The Trick or Treat movie, Creep Show. Also another one you can make a case for. Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy. That's kind of creepy. You know, Eddie Murphy kind of took a break from being a funny comedy guy to doing a serious horror movie. You know, I mean, you could say Life too, man, because, geez, was Bernie Mac trying to rape either Ray or frickin', what was Martin Lawrence's character's name in the movie? Otta Pappy. But, I think a couple other movies are underrated. I guess they're horror. They're revenge horror. I guess you could say I Spit on Your Grave. Those are kind of underrated. Yeah, I think they're considered horror. I mean, that's horrifying. A bunch of guys doing what they did to that lady. I mean, that's got to be considered horror. Although I did not care for the remake of that movie, and then they got sequels to it and all that. I like the first one. I think they made like a couple of them, though, in the original run. But I'm not sure. Yeah. Shoot, what else? I don't know. I think that's pretty much it for underrated horror movies. Maybe some of them aren't as underrated as I'm saying. I know People Under the Stairs is. That movie is freaking underrated. I don't hear a lot of people talk about that movie. Same with Howling. I don't hear a lot of people talk about The Howling or nothing like that either. I mean, I've heard people talk about them here and there, but not as much as you see Nightmare on Elm Street or, you know, A Child's Play or Friday the 13th or, you know, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre or, you know, some of the big name or a Halloween. You know, everybody knows what all those movies are. But yeah, only true horror fans probably know some of these movies I'm talking about, like Phantasm, Howling, People's Under the Stairs. Funny fact though, I did not know the people that were the villains of People Under the Stairs was also in Twin Peaks. Which, by the way, I guess you could say that's an underrated movie too. That's kind of horror. But yeah. Anyway, that'll do it. Maybe something like I don't know, Blue Velvet. That's kind of creepy too. Dennis Hopper, Kyle MacLachlan. Showgirls is creepy. Well, poor Randy. Showgirls is my favorite horror movie. Not really horror, but yeah. Anyway, I still like Showgirls. I don't care what anybody else says about that movie. Get to see Jesse naked. The only thing better than that is getting to see freaking Kelly naked in the movie, but you know. Tennessee Thieves went on to do crappy 90210 and freaking that. Anyway. Also, probably Devil's Advocate. That's a horror movie about the devil. But yeah, I remember the original Boogeyman movies. There was Boogeyman movies in the 80s that came out. I remember those. Also, The Dentist. That's a kind of underrated horror movie too. But yeah. Anyway, that'll do it. Tune in Wednesday, WWE 2K25 playthrough. I'm going to talk about my problems with the game. I'm going to talk about a bunch of other stuff that I don't like, and I'll talk about stuff I like and dislike about that game. Also, Halloween run does start, but right now for August, I'm only doing one Halloween show per week. Because next week I'm going to do a NFL topic video. And another horror, where I'll probably talk about Nightmare on Elm Street. Talk about the franchise of Nightmare on Elm Street. Just flat out just talk about it. No problems with the... Not going to talk about problems with it. I'm going to talk about which one's the best, which one's the worst. Going to have a full topic show talking about all things Nightmare on Elm Street. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing next week. And horror game live streams will start next week as well. This week I got WWE 2K, and then, you know. And pretty soon I'll be starting to build to Halloween Figure Havoc. Hopefully it does better than King of the Figures, but I know one thing. If it does do good, because Wrestle Figure Mania did good, Clash of the Figures did alright. Halloween Figure Havoc does good. I definitely know that people don't care for King of the Figures, so, you know. Anyway. And I had not done, I was supposed to do a wrestling figure event, Rewind, with Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Goldberg. I even set it up at the end of the freaking one I did with Sting and Hogan, but since that one didn't do too well, I said, screw it. I'm not going to do it, unless people want it. But yeah, anyway. I think I might play a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and then get off and get ready to, you know, watch AEW Dynamite. But that'll do it. See y'all next week. I will be putting up more what I'll be doing as a reminder Sunday on my Facebook page. And, you know, that'll do it. Catch you guys later. Peace out.